Welcome to the Yoga Method. My intention for today's class was to help you reconnect with the essential elements of yoga: breath, alignment, and mindful movement. So whether you're a beginner, advanced, or somewhere in between, it's always wonderful to slow down and go back to the basics. I hope you enjoy this practice. So come and join me in easy cross-leg Sukhasana with your right leg in front of your left. And let's establish the foundation of our posture with our ears stacking over our shoulders stacking over top of our pelvis. And there's a gentle drawing in and up through the pelvic floor and through the lower abdominals. We close down our eyes and we begin by cultivating our Ujjayi breath, another foundational component of our asana practice. But how do you do Ujjayi breathing? So I'd like for you to just breathe in and out through your nose normally. And as you feel the breath moving in and out of the body, we begin to create a little constriction in the back of our throat. And it feels like you are sipping your breath through a straw on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, envision that you're fogging up a mirror. So I invite you to breathe in through your nose. And then open your mouth just slightly like you're fogging a mirror. Do 2 more like that. In through the nose, sipping the breath through a straw. Fogging up your mirror. On the in-breath, closing the mouth, in through the nose. And as you exhale, begin with your mouth open, and then halfway through, close your mouth, but continue to make that fogging the mirror sound. And now in through the nose. Out through the nose, but envisioning you're still fogging up a mirror. Over time, this Ujjayi breath will become so comfortable, and it'll become the best friend to your asana practice, telling you when you are pushing too hard, informing you when you have lost your focus. So it always takes time to cultivate something new. So just patiently beginning to use this Ujjayi breath through your physical practice. Take 1 more breath with your eyes closed. And then opening the eyes when the time is right for you. Please bring your hands to your heart center, reconnecting with all of these essential elements of our practice, but beginning with the primary foundation of our breath. When the time is right for you, please interlace your fingers, take a breath in, lift your elbows. And on your exhalation, let's just roll through our spine, pressing our palms forward into a little bit of flexion. On the in-breath, reach your hands as high as your shoulders will allow, and please feel free to bend them as much as you need. And then releasing through your left hand, reaching high through your right, as you take a gentle side bend. I'd like for you to bend your elbows so you're not straining. And then focus on creating a C-curve shape rather than how far can I get towards the floor. So pressing firmly with your left hand. Turn your eye gaze to your bottom hand so there's no strain. Focusing on flooding the breath into your right lung. Let's just take 2 more breaths, please. 1 more full, deep, smooth Ujjayi breath. And on your next inhalation, reach high with your right hand, looking skywards. On your exhalation, come tall and take a gentle twist so that you are now looking over your right shoulder. Once again, establish your ears over your shoulders over your pelvis, and no straining, no struggle. We're just allowing the body to move into the amount of rotation that feels really therapeutic and beneficial to our body. Please take 2 more breaths. So in twisting, the in-breath invites more length and lightness in the body. And on the exhalation, we use the natural wringing out to create a slight more bit of rotation. On your next in-breath, please return your eyes. And on your exhalation, release your twist before you uncross and recross to the other side. Just take a moment to stack ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, engaging pelvic floor and the lower abdominals as you draw the navel in. And then find your Ujjayi breath again if it's faded. Interlace your fingers, take a breath in. On the exhalation, rounding through your spine, tuck your tummy in as you open through the back of your body. On the in-breath, reach as high as your shoulders will allow, not sacrificing your neck to get there. And now we're releasing this time, right hand to the earth, left hand reaches high just for a moment before bending the elbow and easing our way into a gentle side bend. Keep your pelvis grounded and level by using your right hand as an anchor and focusing more on creating a curve through the left side of the torso rather than getting your elbow to the floor. So finding connection once again to breath, to bandhas, your pelvic floor, your lower belly, and then just turn your eye gaze to your right hand. No struggle, no strain, no striving. One more breath in and out. On your in-breath, reach high with your left hand. And on your exhalation, releasing, coming into that gentle twist to the second side. So establish your posture, establish your core connection, and with your breath, on the in-breath, we get that little tiny bit taller. On our exhalation, we're gently, gently seeking a tiny bit more rotation. I cannot emphasize enough that we do not want to force the body. We want to work with our body. Taking one more full deep breath, please. And on our inhalation, we'll return our eyes. On the exhalation, we'll release our twist. And let's move into 4-point kneeling. Stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And from there, bring your knees wide, your big toes together. And moving into child's pose. Definitely one of our foundational postures in yoga. So knees wide, big toes together. Bending your elbows as much as you need so your shoulders feel comfortable. And if your neck will allow, just release your head to your mat. If you've had hip replacements, knee replacements, then we keep the pelvis really quite high, almost into a puppy pose shape. But if there's freedom and there's no contraindication, we're moving the hips towards the heels. Find the breath. So this energetic foundation of our breath, combined with the connection to what the yogis call bandhas. So our main bandha that we're working with is the energy and the muscles of the pelvic floor, our root bandha. And then the final energetic quality to our practice is our dristi, which just means where you're resting your eyes. So we want to create steady eye gaze within each posture, as it helps to steady our mind. So breath, bandhas, and dristi are the 3 energetic foundations for our yoga practice. Just take one more breath as you are. And when you're ready, I'd like for you just to come into a gentle side bend. So slide your left hand by your knee, reach your right arm across your mat, and just feel how that opens up the right side of the torso. Come back to the breath. Just find a steady eye gaze, and that might mean you close your eyes and focus your inner eyes on the back of your forehead. Take 2 more breaths. Just one more full, deep, smooth breath in. Before we ease our way over to the second side of the mat. So slide your right hand by your right knee. Walk your left hand across to the opposite side of your mat until you feel just a glorious amount of sensation through the left side of your torso. And then we enhance the sensation by bringing awareness to our breath. Feeling how the breath naturally moves the body. And feeling how the breath opens the body. Taking 2 more. One more, please. And when the time is right for you, you'll walk yourself back to the midline. And if your knees will allow, we're just going to sit back for a moment and warm up through our wrists. So just interlace your fingers and just circling through the wrist joint. So when we think about foundations, as I said, there's energetic foundations, our breath, our bandhas, and our dristis. And then there's physical foundations. Basically, whatever is on the floor is your foundation, your hands, your feet, your hips. Take one more little circle each direction, please. And then I'd like for you just to reach your left arm forward, pull your fingertips back, and then gently take a hold of your fingers, pulling your fingers back towards your forearm as you press your elbow long and slide your left shoulder away from your ear. I'm hoping you feel just some lovely sensation all the way through the wrist, maybe even into the fingers. So our hands are a very critical foundation in our asana practice. So we want to just take the time to warm them up. One more breath before we release and come to the other side. So palm to ceiling on the right, fingertips pull back. And then we enhance that by drawing the fingertips a little bit deeper using our left hand. Please press your palm forward to lengthen the elbow. Slide your shoulder away from your ear and connect with your breath. One more, please. Gently releasing, giving them a little bit of a roll through the wrists, a little bit of a shake through the hands, and come into 4-point kneeling. So stacking shoulders, elbows, and wrists. And we want to physically grip with our fingertips to maintain the arches of our hands. And then we're checking that our pelvis is over our knees. And once we're here, we steady our eyes, we lift through the core, and we reconnect to our breath. On our inhalation, we're going to move into a gentle happy cat shape. And on the exhalation, tucking the chin, rolling through the spine, gazing towards our navel. So foundational movements always include warming up our spines. So our spines have 4 movement patterns. We have the ability to extend, which we're doing on our happy cat. And our spines have the ability to also flex, which is what we're doing in our angry cat. And then the other two movements, foundational movements of our spine, rotation, which we did in our seated position, and lateral flexion, side bending, which we also did in a seated position. Take one more happy cat. And can you really feel the articulation of your spine as you press through your hands, as you tuck your chin, as you tuck your tailbone and gaze to your navel center? From there, we come to what's called neutral spine. And neutral spine is the position that the spine is able to withstand the forces that we place on it in our daily lives most effectively. We're going to move into our first down dog. So what we need to do is walk our hands a little further forward. And I'm deliberately lining up my middle finger with the long edge of the mat and the crease of my wrist with the short edge of my mat. Now, downward facing dog, even though we find it in every class, it's one of the hardest postures there is. So what I'd like for you to do is spread your fingers, grip with your fingers, tuck your toes, and then begin to ever so slowly explore lifting through your hips. Now, even if you've done a million downward facing dogs, could you please bring a beginner's mindset to this moment and view this posture through the lens of a beginner? What can I discover in my downward facing dog as I flow in and out from 4-point kneeling into a gentle downward dog shape? Now, after a while when we do yoga, downward dog begins to feel like a place of rest. But when we are beginning, it is so challenging. And the last thing it feels like is rest. Beautiful crew. Let's just do one more of these flowing in and out. So gently landing your knees as the breath comes out of the body. And then lifting your hips high. And let's just see if we can stay here for a moment. Please look at your hands and check that they're still shoulder distance apart. And then look at your feet to check that they're hip distance apart. Spread your fingers but grip with them. Spread your toes but also grip with them. And if you can see your heels, I'd like for you to make them disappear, please. So in the shape, we never need to have straight legs. So if it feels better to your lower back to bend your knees, this is where you're going to stay. And over time, maybe more length comes into the hamstrings, but it really doesn't matter. You're setting your eye gaze, your drishti between your feet. You're reestablishing the lift of your pelvic floor as you draw the abdominals in. And the breath is flooding in. The breath is flooding out. Just take two more of these, please. Breath in. Breath out. One more full, deep, smooth breath in. And on your exhalation, gently landing your knees, please. Take a moment in child's pose and just see how the body is feeling after being in downward dog, which is an inversion. Inversions give us the opportunity to see the world through a new lens. And they're also one of the greatest gifts of yoga because there's this new neural mapping that has to happen when we begin to bring the body into inversions. Take one more breath here. And then I would just like for you to create a mini little flow through that sequence. So coming into 4-point kneeling with your hands slightly ahead of your shoulder line, fingers spread, toes tucked. Let's take a happy cat with the arms a little bit away from the body. And on the exhalation, tucking the chin, rounding through the spine, pausing here in angry cat. On your in-breath, begin to lift the hips high And on your exhalation, descending through your heels any amount. On your in-breath, come back to the tips of the toes. And on your exhalation, how slowly can you return the knees to the earth? So on the in-breath, opening into extension. On the exhalation, pressing into the earth, tuck the chin, really scoop the belly. Inhale, lift your hips as high as it feels good. And on the exhalation, descending through your heels, please. 2 more. Lift to the tips of the toes on the in-breath. And exhaling to gently land back in your 4-point kneeling. Opening through front body on the in-breath, please. On the exhalation, opening through the back body, strengthening through your core. Stay in that angry cat shape as you lift your hips on the in-breath. Take your rib cage towards your thighs. And on your exhalation, descending through your heels any amount. Come back to the tips of the toes as you breathe in. And easing your way to the earth as you breathe out. Just one more. So the inhalation opens front body into happy cat. The exhalation opening back body. Keeping angry cat shape as you breathe in and lift through your hips, sending your chest towards your thighs. And on the exhalation, descending through your heels any amount. Breathe in to come to the tips of your toes. Breathing out to control the knees back to the earth before pausing in child's pose, please. Noticing how the body is feeling. And just taking 2 more breaths. I'd like for you just to ease your way up, and we'll take a seat and just do a few of the foundational seated postures. So beginning with a seated forward fold. So let's bend your knees as much as you need to once again establish that shoulder-ear connection and shoulder over pelvis connection. And then test whether or not you can lift your hands as you maintain that shape. And then easing your way forward, keeping the heart lifted and the spine long. Over time, maybe a little bit more freedom arrives in the body. Ooh, there's a spider on my mat. I might just encourage him off with a leaf. It's a jumping spider. There we go. So back to Paschimottanasana. So our dristi, our focal point, is our big toes. Why do we do that? We do that to help lift the chin to maintain a little cervical extension. And when we talked about neutral spine before, the cervical spine is in a slightly extended position when we're in neutral. And our day-to-day lives, unfortunately, find a lot of us in too much flexion through our necks anyway. So we want to help counterbalance what's happening throughout our day. So we steady our eyes. We focus on our Ujjayi breath. And on the exhalation, that's where you can feel the ability to engage the bandhas, so your pelvic floor and your core. On the in-breath, the diaphragm inhibits the abdominals from engaging as well as they can. But on the exhalation, we can really enhance the abdominal connection as well as the pelvic floor. Let's just take 2 more breaths, please. One more breath. And when you're ready, just lifting through your head, lifting through your heart, easing your way out of the shape. And I'm going to invite you to lay yourself down. My jumping spider's back. He really likes my blue mat. I'll try and put him over there this time. Hopefully he stays there. Rolling onto your back as soon as you're ready. Australia has all of the spiders and snakes you can imagine. So once we're here, this is one of the most beautiful foundational positions in our asana practice. So knees to chest really just opens the lower back. And laying on the floor is also a gift to our spine. Inviting a gentle movement if that feels good to your body. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. We'll move into just a gentle sequence, taking our left foot long towards the sky, towards the ceiling, and grounding into our right foot. Again, holding on to hamstrings, holding on to calves, but always offering more of a bent knee position so that we are not straining in the body. We're going to, over time, seek a little bit more length, but you'll know you've gone too far if your shoulders are lifting and hunching, or if there's a tremble through your left foot. So can you just let go of any strain, any struggle, any striving, and simply allow your body to absorb your practice. We can keep our right knee bent, or we could lengthen that leg long. And by doing that, we create this beautiful combination of a gentle hip flexor stretch through our right side while creating a hamstring stretch through our left. I'd like for you to introduce a gentle bit of movement through your ankle joints by flexing and pointing. So on the in-breath, we'll point the toes away. And on the exhalation, draw the toes down. Taking one more flex and one more point. Pausing here to see if you can relax just a tiny bit more for one more breath. And then I'd love for you to ground again through your right foot, crossing your left ankle over. We press the thigh away for option 1. And sometimes if we're having a week where our body is sore, this is more than enough. Variation 2, we would thread through and hold on to the back of the leg. Once again, if the shoulders are lifting and the chin is poking, we're just asking a little bit too much of our bodies in this moment. So finding that place where you're feeling a gentle stretch, you're maintaining the alignment, the integrity of the body, and the breath will tell you if the body is still relaxed within the demands of the posture. Just one more breath, please. Before you gently, slowly release that leg to the earth, you'll snug that leg over tightly. You'll take a moment to create cactus arms to open up through the heart and the shoulders. And then there's a slight little shift of your pelvis to your left. And your knees will begin to gently move to the right. Now, if your back is sore, if you're just feeling stiff, uncross the knees. It's just a kinder way of moving into rotation. So remembering those 4 foundational movements of our spine. Flexion, extension, rotation, and lateral flexion. Taking 2 more opportunities to open up the left side of the torso, the left side of your lower back. And to safely come out of rotation, we want to deliberately engage our core more and use our arms to slowly bring us back to the midline. Once you've arrived there safely, please gather your knees to your chest again. Take a moment to deload. Take a moment to rock gently. And then it is your left foot that will find the earth before you begin to explore the range of motion through your right hamstring today. Holding on to your hamstring or your calf, but bending your knee as much as you need to so that you're not straining through your upper body, through your neck, through your shoulders. So settling in, consciously relax the back of your head, your shoulders, and really even consciously allow your spine to soften. Feeling a little lighter, a little freer, a little more openness in the body, a little bit more calmness and clarity in the mind. Please slide your left leg long if you did on the first side, and only if that feels good to your body. So opening through our left hip flexor, opening through our right hamstring, but inviting softness into the posterior chain, the back of the body. As we did on the first side, just flexing and pointing. Just let your body feel heavy through the back. And let your breath be effortless. With each breath, just softening into this moment. One last time, please, to move through dorsiflexion and plantar flexion before pausing just to absorb one more breath. You'll slide your left foot in if you took it long, and we'll cross the right leg over. Option to keep the left foot grounded, using the right hand just to gently encourage a little stretch through our right hip. If there feels like there's room to explore, we're threading through, checking the alignment of the ankle, the knee, and the hip on the left, and then noticing once again what's happening through our neck, our shoulders. Just take a full breath in. And on your exhalation, deliberately allow the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, your spine to release. Last 2 breaths into this really foundational stretch that opens the back of our pelvis. We'll ground through our left foot. We'll snug our right leg over. We'll take our cactus arms to open the shoulders, the chest, and then a slight shift to your right before your knees begin to move to your left. Again, if that's feeling a little strong today, just uncross and stack the knees. So it doesn't matter how far the knees are traveling. Our focus remains on our shoulders remaining equal and grounded on the earth, and our breath remaining smooth and calm. So you send your awareness into your right lung, the right side of your torso, your right ribs, and the right side of your lower back. Last 2 breaths. We'll slowly, consciously engage the abdominals and use our arms to safely come back to the midline. Once we've arrived there safely, let's take a butterfly stretch, a Baddha Konasana, opening the inner thigh, opening the back of the pelvis, and just placing your right hand on your heart, your left hand on your abdominals. And please close down your eyes, just soaking up the sensation that the body is offering. Can you reestablish your Ujjayi breath, your victorious breath? And as you simply focus on your breath, feeling the gift that gravity is offering to the front of the pelvis, as well as the back of the pelvis. Feeling the gift that gravity is offering to the inner thigh, the adductors. No need for any striving. Simply opening ourselves up to gravity's magical qualities. One more breath. And when you are ready, opening your eyes, using your hands perhaps to draw the knees back to the middle. And let's finish with happy baby pose, drawing the knees in and separating your knees. This may be the best option for you to begin practicing happy baby pose. If you feel like there's a little bit more room, you stack your ankles over your knees and your knees are stacking over your armpits. Reaching the feet can be very challenging in the beginning. So you might find holding your hamstrings or your ankles are a good stepping stone, a good alternative. If the feet feel like they're reachable, please take them. But you'll know you're asking too much again by the action that's happening through your neck and through your shoulders. So can you relax your head? Can you release your shoulders? Can you allow your spine to cascade into your mat and your tailbone to grow heavy? Staying with your stillness or inviting a gentle, mindful rocking movement, but the breath continues to guide the process. Our eyes rest steadily somewhere. And you can bring a gentle engagement of your pelvic floor muscles even in this posture. How is the body feeling? How is the quality of your breath, the steadiness of your eyes? Just taking one more slow, smooth, mindful breath with movement. Before finding stillness. And easing your way into your final resting posture of Savasana. So when we begin yoga, or if we are working with soreness in our bodies, which happens to all of us from time to time, sometimes laying with our legs straight just is not possible. So if there's any strain in your back or your pelvis, you'll bend your knees, you'll bring your feet wider than your mat, and you'll bring your knees together. And that just takes the strain and the load out of your lumbar spine and out of your hips. So if that feels like the best option for you today, please stay there as you close your eyes. If it feels possible to lengthen your legs, please do. And this is one of the most powerful stretches you can do for your body, just laying flat on your yoga mat, opening up through the shoulders. It opens us up through the pelvis and helps to release any tension in the front of the hips. Closing down your eyes. Just feeling the foundation of the earth in your mat beneath you. And please release your Ujjayi breath. So as we come into Savasana, into relaxation, we release the Ujjayi breath that we use in our practice. And we allow the breath to become as slow and quiet as we possibly can. But no longer controlling the breath. We're now going to simply observe the breath. Observing the body. But your eyes again are steady. So with your eyes closed, see if you can steady your eyes on the back of your eyelids or the back of your forehead. And simply allow yourselves to absorb the gift of your practice. With each breath, softening and relaxing just a little more. Taking 2 more breaths. And knowing during Shavasana, thoughts will continue to arise. But we don't need to follow them. We do not need to engage with them. We simply allow the thought to arise. And then we release it. When you are ready, we begin to mindfully reawaken the body by deepening our breath. And by deepening the breath, we automatically lift the energy of the body. And as you expand your breath, we also naturally begin to expand our awareness. And when your awareness reaches the outer edge of your body, just feel your skin and begin to welcome gentle movement back in through your fingers, through your toes, through your wrists, your ankles. A little movement through your shoulders, a gentle rock through your neck. And then simply bend your knees one at a time. Gathering your knees to your chest, to your hearts. Take a moment to hug yourselves gently, celebrating your efforts, giving thanks for this body. And then rocking gently, just to release any tension that's developed during Shavasana in your lower back. Before rolling lightly to the right hand side of your body, tucking your knees up, your eyes remaining closed. Before you push the earth away, finding a seated position, any position that feels comfortable for you, and coming full circle with our ears stacking over our shoulders stacking over our hips. We bring our hands to Anjali Mudra, which is just in prayer position in front of your heart. We exaggerate the length of the spine, the lift of our hearts. And at the end of every practice, we silently send our love, our hope, our prayers, our blessings out into the world, allowing our yoga practice to ripple outwards, sharing our light, sharing our love. We take one more full deep breath together before closing our practice with a bow. Namaste. Thank you for your time, your effort, your energy, and I hope to see you soon.